on KFOR.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the morning. Hookup, Bill Oaks, YZ, hanging out with you on a ominous start outside to a Tuesday morning. Another wet one. Be careful out there as you're making your travels to work, or you're out delivering stuff, or you're dodging school traffic this morning. Be careful. A lot to get to today. We'll get to Husker football stuff. We got stuff going on there. There's a running back room. We'll talk about that. Robin watched it with HuskerOnline.com. A lot of hoops would watch it today. I got some hoops questions to get to. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com as well. We'll go around the diamond in Major League Baseball. Wild card mania right now on both sides. MVP mania on the National League side. Mm-hmm. Dynamic last night for the two top candidates for the MVP of the National League. We'll get to that. A lot of stories that we missed and a whole lot more. But I do what we want to kick it off. We got Jeff Moats hanging out with us, the Almanac Moats. I know you're like, whoa, that's Fridays. Wasn't ready for the dose of the Moats. Dose of the Moats.
Oh, I like that.
Jeez. Man.
We're going to have to trademark that.
Oh, man. Mark that. Dose of the Moats. I need to write that down for Friday.
You know, my dad years ago, back in the 80s, had a T-shirt made up for him, and it said Quaker Moats.
Yes. I just wrote that down on my Friday sheet. Look at that. I need to, we're marking that one down. But we got the Almanac Jeff Moats. And real quick, hey, man, congrats. We watched it last night. I know a lot of people watched it. Carpetland in Nebraska, the East High team and Coach Lonick were in the semis last night.
Yeah.
In the semis and did against a Michigan team, which is a really good Michigan team. Again, any team that's out there in the Legion World Series, they're good teams.
Oh,
they're all good teams.
They're all. I mean, this team from Michigan last night was supposed to have one of the best pitching staffs around, and the pitching staff got rocked by the East High offense.
And how about something you don't see very often in a Legion situation is a run rule.
Yeah,
Nebraska run rules.
Yeah, and so Carpetland won 10-0 in 5 innings over Midland, Michigan last night. Now, there was a weather delay heading into the bottom of the 5th.
Did you see that rain coming? Did you see the wind?
It was pouring and blowing like crazy.
The top of 5, it looked like it was blowing 60 miles an hour dead to center.
Yeah, and, you know, they're in Shelby, Michigan, or Shelby, North Carolina. There is Shelby, Michigan.
Yeah,
but there is Shelby, North Carolina, which is how far west of Charlotte?
Oh, boy, it's been a while. Not that far. Hour?
Is it
maybe or less?
Is it in the mountains?
No.
Not
quite. It's quite into the mountains.
Okay.
There ain't no mountains in those backwoods.
No, but anyway, they had a weather delay that lasted about a half hour, 45 minutes maybe, and then they resumed play, and Trevor Roach came in to finish out for Carpetland and got the victory for them. So now we see Carpetland back in a familiar spot where they were 3 years ago when they were in the national championship game against League City, Texas, and end up losing that game, if you recall, 1-0. It became a pitching duel after that, and I think it was Carter Mick that was the pitcher in that game for Carpetland, but they ended up coming home as the national runner-up. And now here we are 3 years later, they're back in a spot where they have a chance to bring home for the first time in about 87 years a national championship in Legion Baseball back to the state of Nebraska.
1939.
1939, the McDivitts team of Creighton Prep in Omaha. They won the national title that year. Now, the Legion championships have not always been in Shelby, North Carolina. They've been there for 15 years, okay? And I think it kind of traveled from, stadium to stadium across the country. Well, in 1939, McDivitts hosted Berwyn, Illinois, and in front of 13,000 fans at Fontenelle Park in Omaha, McDivitts won the national title 6-2 in a 3-1 victory in that series. And so McDivitts, the last team from the state of Nebraska to win a national title in American Legion Baseball, and again, it was McDivitts from Creighton Prep that did it. And could Carpetland make history and become the second team from the state of Nebraska to ever win a national title in Legion Baseball? We'll wait and see if that's the case. But the big highlight last night was the grand slam that Dele Ololate hit in the second inning, a towering shot to left field. And, and then after that, the floodgates opened up, and Carpetland got some, they got a sacrifice flying an RBI. What was that, in the fourth or fifth inning?
Yep. And
then they had a couple of other runs score, and, of course, they made it to 10 and heading into the bottom of the fifth, and then they win via the run rule, 10-0 over Midland, Michigan, to advance on to play Portland, Oregon for the national title. And that game will be on ESPNU tonight beginning at 6 Lincoln time. And if you've not seen Carpetland play, we've talked about it on this show, I don't know how many times, not just this summer, not just this past spring, but in recent years. If you've not seen this team from Lincoln East or comprising of players from Lincoln East play, they're fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. We've been talking more, 5 years now? Has it been 5 years?
4 to 5 years at least with this program. But, and it's not just East that has really stood out with baseball success in the city. Southwest, North Star, Southeast in recent years have all had teams that have done very well, made postseason play either during the NSAA season in the spring or in the Legion season during the summer. But, the more consistent team that's been around and been successful has been Lincoln East or Carpetland. And, they've put Lincoln baseball on the map. They've put the state of Nebraska on the map in the baseball world. And could they do it with the national championship tonight? We'll wait and see against Portland, Oregon.
Would be the icing on the cake for a East program that's been on a hot run.
Yeah, tremendously hot run. They won state championships in the NSAA spring season in 2023, 2025. They were runner-up in 2024 and this past spring.
To the same team that did it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. They've won it twice. Is that Millard North twice, too? Those are the two teams that have been
Actually, it was –
I know Millard North this year.
Millard West was in 04, and then they beat Millard West in 03. 05, they beat Millard North on a walk-off, and then they got beat by Millard North again this year. So that's been that consistency there. But, they've been in the regionals. They've been to the the American Legion World Series the last several years, and now they're in the national championship game for the second time in 3 years.
It's a scrappy team, tons of arms, tons of bats.
Yeah.
Last night, by the way, they scored 6 runs with 2 outs.
Which is incredible.
2 outs. Situational. They put pressure on people. It'll be a lot of fun. And I know there'll be a lot of eyes here in the state of Nebraska on that game tonight.
Yeah, and whatever happens tonight, you have to be awfully admirable with how this team is played. You don't have to love them. You like them. If you do, obviously, great. But you have to respect them. And I think there's a lot of teams in the state of Nebraska that have played this team a lot, and they realize how good these kids are. The fundamentals are unbelievable. And the thing is, the team that made it to the national championship game in 2023, that team had 6 or 7 Division I prospects or commits. And I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 on this team, including Dele Ololade and I believe Kalai Larson, who are both committed to Omaha. And so, there's a lot to say about the type of success that this program has put out and shown on the ball field. And it's been fun to watch. I've been covering those games on the web, for the last 3 to 4 years and watching this Carpetland team grow and mature and become a dominant force. When Michael Lonick took over at Lincoln East in 2022, all of a sudden, like a shot out of a cannon, you see these big-time prospects pop up, and they're playing in a state tournament setting where prior to 2022, the East baseball team had only been to the state tournament maybe 6 or 7 times in school history, and that school's been around almost 60 years. And that's commendable. You see something else pop up in a program or an athletic department which was known for success for many years in football and boys basketball and girls basketball, golf, tennis, track, cross country, soccer, and all of a sudden, boom, and wrestling. Can't forget about East Wrestling has been phenomenal.
Yep.
But now you see baseball emerge, and it's like, wow. I mean, they've been quite impressive. And I think that's helped enhance the competition in town a little bit more, because some of the other teams in Lincoln, that have not been to that level just yet or on their way to that level, they've got great talent too. And the talent has been tremendous in this town in the last several years. And I think a lot of it can be sparked by what East has done. And then not just that, you got the programs like at Norris and Waverly and Malcolm that come to mind that have had success either during the spring or in the summer months with Legion Ball, that have been in championship games or won state titles. And the baseball talent overall in the Lincoln metro area has just blossomed to a whole new level. And now it's competing with the Omaha area. And that's fun to see because you want that competition.
Yeah, you and I, we've talked about that at length, but facilities and junior programs that are the evolution of youth sports, not just baseball, but basketball, softball, volleyball, and all that. So tonight, ESPNU, 6 o'clock?
Yep, ESPNU, 6 o'clock Lincoln time. If you go on the web, it'll say 7 p.m. That's Eastern time. So it's 6 Central. It'll be Carpet Land, Post 500 of Lincoln East against Portland, Oregon for the national championship in American Legion baseball.
Hey, Moach, before we get you out of here, speaking of something that's been going on a long time, you've been here a long time in this great state, in this great city of Lincoln, Nebraska. Not just saying how old we are, but we're going to get into it a little bit. It's the sellout streak of Nebraska football. That's a hot topic right now. A lot of stuff being reported right now. Ticket sales are tough. I can tell you, I believe that to be true. As a season ticket holder, I'm getting phone calls now about their ticket plans.
Yeah. And I have not seen the plans up close.
Well, as to what there's a mini plan, there's 2 mini plans. You can get like a 2 for $50 to the open game. You can get like a 4 for $100 game now.
That's decent.
Some people say that's all we got left. Some people would say it's been fictitious for years.
Well,
somebody say, you know what? Don't care. It's what we got.
I got to tell you something. I took my son down to a game last fall, and it was when Nebraska played Houston Christian. And it was a last-minute decision. Saturday morning, we're just kind of sitting around the house, and he's like, I'd like to go down to the game. Can we try to get tickets? Okay, I'll try to get tickets. I went online, was it StubHub? I can't remember.
SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a partner.
SeatGeek. That's it. That's it. SeatGeek. Thank you. That's where I went. And I found a couple of seats, West Stadium, underneath the overhang, to where you could still see.
Did you pay cash?
No.
Did you pull it out of your pocket and go, here's 10 and
2
10.
tickets, $38.
Yeah, I know. But that it leads to believe there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about as we talk about this. Is it the not caring as much, or is it the economy and cash?
Well, it could
or
be
money to get tickets.
But
because it's not cheap to take your family of 4 or a couple of 2.
Well, it could be a combination of everything in general. Now, there might be those that say, well, I'm not impressed with what's happening. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying there are people that would think that.
Yep.
Okay. Now, to me, the sellout streak is this. If you were here in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and definitely into the early to mid-2000s, and you saw the seats at Memorial Stadium, every game, every seat in that place was full.
Butts and seats.
They were full at kickoff. And you had a sellout. That, to me, is legitimate. Now, in this day and age, we've seen, and I saw this even a few years back when Bethune-Cookman came to Lincoln. That was the replacement game for the Akron game in 2018. I got free tickets and took Jared down to his first game. And we were kind of looking around over in the southeast part of the stadium where, normally the students are at. There were open seats. And I said, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would go to a Nebraska football game and see that there were open
Yep.
seats, but it was still considered a sellout. Now,
Tickets sold. They go
I
to ticket
think
sold.
that's what it's going off of now. But to me, if you sell out the tickets and you have everybody sitting, to me, that's a legitimate sellout.
Yeah, we'll get to talk about it more.
But that's
your
my thought.
because you've been here a long time and seen it come and go. So, Mozi.
Oh, hey,
Yep.
got a
Who
text from our friend Thu Malone saying that Xavier Malone is taking is it an official visit to Cloud County today, I believe.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Good luck.
He's going to be a senior. He is a senior this year
Yep.
at Lincoln Northwest.
Good luck, X. Get it
So,
done, brother.
anyway,
Good stuff.
but again, we'll follow the pace of how Carpetland will do tonight, and then we'll talk more about it. You may have a little bit more about it tomorrow, but we'll go maybe more in depth on Friday because Friday is the first official game of high school football in this town.
Yeah, buddy.
With the two newbies on the block, they're going to square off at Seacrest. So we'll have plenty more about that coming up on Friday morning.
A lot more coming up this week with the Almanac Jeff Moats. Moats, appreciate you stepping in this morning.
Yep, you bet, fellas.
All right, good stuff from the Almanac Jeff Moats. Take a break, come back, and we're going to talk a lot of hoops with Robin Washington from HustlerOnline.com. There's a lot of hoop stories.
Yeah, there is.
We'll do hoops with Washer for a while. Then we'll have some fun with some football because it's quiet out of football, except for a running back that apparently.
Yeah, they got practice today, or they're practicing with media availability today. Yeah. All right, I got to run.
Appreciate you, Mozi.
And out of here and get some stuff done, get ready for 10 o'clock, and process up a story that I need to work on.
This weather gets, it's going to be out of here until the night again, right?
Yeah, there's a chance. Well, there's a chance this afternoon.
Is this lower risk today? Do we know?
Yeah, the risk area has moved south and east.
Because last night was the one where it's overnight where you could see it.
Yeah.
And it was 4 a.m. I think we got an alert. I was asleep.
3.
Get the
Yeah.
Did you have to get up?
No, I woke up at 4.
All right.
I slept through it.
But it was like, I mean, last night was just more of the threat of like wind. And,
yeah. But when I was coming into work this morning, the lightning.
Was it electric?
Oh, it was.
I saw some this morning when I was traveling across this.
It wasn't the cloud to ground variety. It was what they call sheet lightning, where it's lit. You lights up the back sky there.
Ooh, those are pretty ones.
I mean, it's like something out of a Hollywood movie.
I bet you guys can't wait till like it. What did I hear? It was one of our one of the other guys out there I was listening to, Rusty Dawkins. I really like him a little bit. Like listening to talk. Like he goes, and I think you guys are all like this. I can't wait till it's wintertime so I can take a nap. It was just a great statement. I'm like, oh,
I you know what?
I know you don't sleep, but you'll have winter storms. But like,
I don't like winter.
No, I hate winter. But at least it comes with a little less of the dramatics.
Unless you're going to get 10 feet of snow.
Yeah, at least that's all you're worried about.
And
the dramatics of everything else.
Yeah. So
call me after radio. See, they're calling me too. Call me after radio. That's my office.
Uh-oh.
No. What if I said no? It's Rudd, Don. Call me. I'm like, no. Can't make me. I got to pick up a kid today. They get my. Oh man, don't give me.
Is yesterday the first day of school?
Today's first day for my kids.
Oh my gosh.
My sophomore is full day. He's
Yeah.
back, but I don't know what it is. My 7th grader, half day. I don't understand it.
We never did half days.
I don't understand it because it's the inconvenience of parents.
Well, you got to leave work early.
Yeah, how do you do? I
I
have a luxury.
Can't you control your schedule?
I do, but I have a luxury because I'm going back that way, and he gets
Right.
out at noon, so I have the luxury. But like, don't have the luxury to do this. Noon.
All right, fellas, have fun.
Thanks, Mozi. Good morning, Flood X10. Say go Spartans. Hopefully, first game tonight for the Lincoln Seahawks.
I don't know. It's pretty dreary outside.
Yeah, no. But it's football. No lightning. Gets a little rain. Let's go to work, baby. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Special thanks here to the Almanac Jeff Moats. Let's bring our guy from HustlerOnline.com, Robin Wash. Wash, what's up, brother?
What's happening, Bill?
I don't know. I've missed you the last 2 Tuesdays. Apparently, I've been gone every time you're on the radio with us.
Yeah, you're making everybody else carry the workload for you while you're off gallivanting who knows where.
Well, sometimes but you know what? You know how it is. You just got great people around you, brother. That's it. You got great people around you.
That's right. Quarterback is only as good as his offensive line, right? You got to have that protection.
Whew. Boy, we'll get to football. I got a lot of hoops today for you, Washington. Football can wait. We got time for that. But, hey, let's just jump into it. I think, again, looking at this Husker hoops team coming, let's get it out of the way now. Jamarcus Lawrence, you posted about it. People posted about it. Not returning, okay? He's on the board for some other teams. When you look at that situation, I think this is something across college basketball. That rule came in so late. There's an injunction, blah, 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 whatever. People are like, why would you not bring that guy back? When you look at this from programs to programs, I'm watching it at Carolina, Seth Trimble. He's back going to Louisville. Is this a case of, and again, Rob, you followed this team. Is this a case of roster management already? They've already, I don't want to say over-recruited, but they've already assembled a team. NIL, there's got to be a combination of those things on why kids are. And again, I'm not going to say welcome back. They're just not returning to the schools that they left.
Yeah. So this situation is a layered one where, if they would have made players like Jamarcus, the 2022, I guess, 4-year players that had another year of eligibility on the 5-for-5 model. If they would have passed that and made everybody eligible in May or June, he would have been back on the roster in a split second and would have been practicing with them all summer, and we would have been going for him. But it's just more of a timing issue where it's taken so long. And here's the thing, there's still no guarantee that these guys are going to play. Yeah, you have all these injunctions and these little district courts, popping up around the country, but they're still awaiting a federal ruling, and the NCAA continues to appeal time and again, digging their heels in the sand that they do not want these players eligible, because basically they want to rip the Band-Aid off and move forward as opposed to, constantly backtracking and retroactively making guys eligible. So it's a fight still very much in the process, regardless of what these, district court injunctions might kind of temporarily say is now the law. They're going to revote on the Protect College Sports Act in September, and who knows what happens there. If that passes, that probably makes all of these district rulings irrelevant, and this is a big conversation about nothing. So that's part of it, and you take that into equation with Jamarcus hasn't been around. He didn't practice with these guys all summer. They've got a lot of new players here that, one, committed to Nebraska thinking that Jamarcus's minutes were going to be available, and Nebraska built its roster thinking Jamarcus was not going to be available. And so again, he's a multi-year starter who knows the system better than anybody. Sure, that makes a lot of sense, but you're still creating the opportunity to disrupt the chemistry that you've built over the course of the summer. And maybe guys take it the right way and it's not an issue, but you just don't know. And they already had an issue of who was going to play. There's only so many minutes to go around. Now you're adding a guy that's going to eat up a big chunk of that rotation in theory. And, you just don't know how guys are going to respond. And the reason last year was what it was because they had elite chemistry and elite buy-in and role acceptance. You risk throwing that off by bringing in a guy, in late August to suddenly join the team and take up a big lion's share of the available minutes. So that's part of it too. And then there's the money factor. Nebraska spent its roster budget to build the current group that it has right now. And yes, they left one spot open, but this is a team that had to spend a lot to retain the players it retained. It had to spend a lot to add the players that it added. And, to ask Jamarcus to come play for pennies on the dollar when you can go somewhere else that has more money, that's a factor in this as well. So again, there's not just one answer why Jamarcus to Nebraska isn't happening. It's a very layered conversation with a lot of reasons. And I think more than anything, it's just the timing of it all. The money would have been there if this happens in May. The minutes would have been there if this happens in May. So it's more just another ripple effect of the NCAA just botching this whole operation like they do everything else, to leave everyone, teams, coaches, players, in limbo without really any idea of what's allowed, what's not. And, again, you get other schools pursuing Jamarcus. We'll see if they even have the opportunity to bring him on when more of these court rulings start to play out over the next couple months.
Wash, you mentioned this team, the newcomers to this team within that. Talk about, I was impressed. I was talking with Ty last night about this team. He goes, what else do we need? Why J-Law? Blah. We were having the conversation, and I sent him the roster. I'm like, hey, look at this roster and give me your thoughts on it, Ty Hooks, you Mensa of Husker basketball. But when you look at it, the thing that sticks out the most to me is the height of this team. Talk about the height of this team. Your smallest guys now are 6'4" on paper, and you go all the way to 7'2". Give me an insight on your thoughts on the paper of a 6'4" to a 7'2" kid, the height, the length, the Big Ten look, and the typical Fred Hoiberg looking team.
They look a lot different than last year, don't they? With
Yeah.
6'0" Sam Hoiberg and Jamarcus were your starting guards. Now you got guys with height, guys with length that are going to give it a much different picture on the perimeter. So, that's Fred usually likes to lean towards length, and you've got a lineup now where, in theory, you could have everybody on the court be 6'6" or taller, and that's a nice thing to have come conference play. And so that's definitely something that they've tried to prioritize, but they don't always need it. Last year they had their greatest season ever with their 6-foot point guard. So, it's nice to have it. I think it's probably a more preferred look for what Fred wants this roster to be like, but I think it just comes down to if you can play, it doesn't matter how big you are, and nobody embodied that more than Sam.
How deep do you think they go on this roster with some of the newcomers and then the returners from last year? Obviously, Asijan didn't play. DeGowerville coming in. There's some guys that you kind of have cemented, and they're probably going to get around 30-plus minutes. But how far do you think they dig into the bench and have some guys, give you a 15 to 20 minutes a game?
Yeah, nobody knows. Right now, you can make the case for as many as 13 guys that could play in the rotation, and they're not going to play 13 guys. So it's going to be odd guys out, and I think that's a process that's going to go into the season. You're just going to see how guys respond. And here's the other factors with 5-for-5. Redshirting is not a thing anymore. So Jacob Lanier, Colin Rice, they're going to play just because they can. There's no consequence to them playing like it was when they wanted to play Braden Frager but didn't because they wanted to preserve his red shirt. So that changes the conversation. But the reality is the deeper you get into the season, the shorter that rotation is going to get. So, the first, bye game, you're going to probably see them play 10, 11, 12 guys, maybe more, depending on how the game goes. But as they get into higher level competition, the idea of them playing much more than 9 or 10, probably a bit of a stretch just because, when it comes down to it, you got to have your core group and you got to lean on that core group. So it's still very much a process that is being sorted out. And when they resume fall practices here next week, that competition to see kind of who that core group is will, really, I think, start to accelerate. So that's the biggest challenge on Fred's plate right now. And again, that kind of goes to the Jamarcus conversation. It's like, all right, it was already like a big question mark. Now you're throwing in Jamarcus. Like, there would be a massive ripple effect if you threw him into the equation now, just because it's already a pretty log-jammed rotation as it is. So it's a good problem to have, but it's something that they got to figure out, especially once the games start getting rolling here, coming a couple months.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Wash with HuskerOnline.com. Wash it. One thing, we a lot of things we don't know, but we do get excited about is when stuff gets posted that a top 15 kid moves his official visit up. That gets us excited. Don't know if it means anything, but give us some thoughts as Dawson Beatty moved his not commitment. God, I wish that was true. But he moved up his official from October 9th to September 18th. Does that tell us anything? Should we get excited?
Well, I mean, certainly shows he's a priority guy and has Nebraska high on his list. Otherwise, he wouldn't go to all this trouble. I think it's a reflection that he wants to get this recruiting process done. He doesn't want to drag it on into October. So I would anticipate, at the latest, he'll probably have a decision made by the end of September. And so that definitely speeds things up a little bit. And he already visited Stanford in June on an official visit. SMU is another school that's in the mix, but at this point, just talking to people, it sounds like Nebraska is right up there at 1 or 2 in the race for his services, and more people will probably tell you that they're number 1 right now. And so there's still work to be done. I think the biggest thing is just the financials. Nebraska doesn't usually, or at least the recent trend over the last few cycles, doesn't want to invest heavily in high school kids, and for good reason. Like they're just not in a situation where they can overpay for the unknowns of a high school kid. They need to kind of make sure they have more information about what they're buying with portal guys. So that's just kind of the shift in their approach. But when you get a guy that is a borderline 5-star player that can do things at the 4 spot that maybe no player athletically that Fred's had at Nebraska has been able to do. You probably have to go back to like some of his Iowa State guys to kind of replicate what Dawson Bettee would be in his system. You kind of change your approach a little bit for a guy like that. So if Nebraska can get the money stuff figured out and make sure that they're able to pay guys that they need to pay to return, and then pay Bettee enough that's going to keep them competitive, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work out. But I'd say they're probably deep in the red zone right now, and now they just got to punch it in and finish the job.
Robin, we will shift the conversation over to football as the football team continues their fall camp. And there was some news that came out yesterday as the whirlwind sort of arrival of Tyke Hayes that kind of came out of nowhere and surprised a lot of Nebraska fans, adding in that running back room, is now not going to be in the running back room anymore as he has been dismissed from the team. What do we know about the situation, and what does it mean for the running back room coming up for the season?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of my favorite moment. Hayes era.
What were your top 10 moments of the Tyke Hayes era?
Was it the shortest? Was it the shortest era of any Nebraska player?
What about the Minchie kid, the quarterback? I mean, he was committed for about like 12 hours and then flipped his commitment. So that's tough to beat. But I don't know what it means. Like, I think it means that it just never really fit here. And you kind of pair that news with what Dana said the other day. He was like, I don't even know if he knows where he is. Like, it's like, oh, okay, that's strange that, we're having these kind of issues right now. But I guess it sounded like he still had a ways to go, and this kind of suggests why. Like, I don't know if he ever really caught much traction here, and he was in a tough spot joining as late as he did. And clearly it never really got off the ground. So I guess the good news for Nebraska is they already had, a lot of guys that were competing for that job that they apparently feel good about. So I don't know if this dramatically shifts the look of that running back competition. It's just one less guy in that equation. So, maybe it's more a reflection of they really do like the guys that they have, that they can afford to have a guy like Tyke move on after going through the effort of bringing him this late. But I think it's just comes down to he's not really fitting with what Nebraska expected and needed at this point.
Again, we're speaking with Robin Watch at HuskerOnline.com. We got a ton of time to talk football, the X's and O's, but I want to ask, because you guys over HuskerOnline.com have the great message board, and you kind of get the pulse of Husker Nation. What was the biggest story of the past, I guess, week? Was it the scrimmage, because you didn't get a lot out of it? Or I think I know maybe an answer to this one, but was it the sellout streak or the alternate uniform? Because I know because people are mad. I've talked to people that are mad about the alternate. We don't wait on them, and there's no N on the helmet, and the sellout streak is all we got left, and it was gone like 5 years ago, probably. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how much of a story either of those things are. Like, I think that uniform conversation, just I don't know if people really care all that much the way they used to. Like changing uniforms used to be a big deal, but I mean, they completely flipped their just normal home uniforms. So throwing in some alternates kind of is what it is at this point. Like I think they look fine. Like I'm to the point now where I don't really get caught up in the uniform stuff. So like to me, I guess I didn't really pay much attention to it. And the sellout streak thing, you know, it's like you said, it's one of those that's like just kind of continuing on paper. Like, yeah, the tickets are getting sold, but you know, I remember many games where there was not a fully attended stadium and there were plenty of empty seats. And so, you know, what does a sellout streak mean? Like if some guy comes in and buys 10,000 unsold tickets at the 11th hour, like, is that something that we're celebrating? You know, even if those seats go unfilled, I don't know. Like, so that one I think is kind of in the same boat where like it's, you know, kind of nice to have that streak that you can claim, but it really doesn't mean a whole lot. Just like these uniforms, like doesn't really matter what Nebraska wears. What matters is how they play while wearing them. So I'd say both of them are just like off-season fodder, and I can't wait until we actually have tangible football to talk about so that uniforms, ticket sales, and all that off-season stuff can go by the wayside again.
I also want to ask you, as you saw a couple more before we get you out here. You saw Sierra Wright, the story about Sierra Wright, right? You saw him. He's going to go make a movie, leading role. Have you? You're a man of many talents. Have you thought about whenever you go to tell Sean that you need a sabbatical, what your talent would be, so then you could return?
I don't know. That's a good question. I always thought about what I would do if I didn't have this job, because it's the only full-time job I've ever had. Like back when I was a teenager, I did like service industry stuff, but like basically from junior year of high school on, I was a sports writer. So like I honestly have no idea what I would do. I'd probably like just go apply to get a job at Slim Chickens or something like that. And
I think you'd be a hella on the headset.
Yeah, I just have Ty take me through the ins and outs of the job, and I get a nice little career out of that. I've heard the manager there is a pretty okay guy, so I think I could see him working there.
Robin, just a couple more before we get you out of here.
Man.
As we look up and down this roster, and there's definitely some storylines and some guys that we know what we're going to get out of them, and we kind of have expectations of them. But who are some guys that are kind of like flying under the radar, or that you kind of expected more out of last year and kind of coming into this year want to see more out of? For me, I think a big name for a lot of people is Williams and Wary, coming off the edge. Just a guy that has all the athletic ability, and you want to see him take that next level. And then a guy like Rex Guthrie in the secondary last year, who came into a bigger role, but kind of expecting a little bit more out of him. Who are some of those guys for you on this roster that you want to see take the next step coming into the season?
Well, pick a defensive lineman. Warney is certainly at the top of that list, but you can go down 4 or 5 guys that need to be good. Riley Van Poppel needs to take a step. Anthony Jones needs to be, the player that they hope he can be. Cam Lenhart needs to emerge as that kind of, fixture on the D line, and to go down the line, their interior line. They need Jasir Whittington to be a staple on that interior line. So I mean, that entire unit collectively needs to take a step. I'd say Jeremiah Charles is in that conversation. If he can be lockdown number 2 corner, that obviously has a ripple effect with the rest of the secondary, because you can keep Donovan Jones in the slot, and you can, keep Khan at safety. And so, I put him right up there it sounds like he's emerging as one of the front runners for that other starting spot opposite Andrew Marshall. So you need to see him take that next step, lock that down, and, provide some answers in the secondary, just with all the other, ways that would happen with that job being settled. So I'd say D-line, Andrew Marshall, and then I'll go Quinn Clark on the offensive side. I think he is just such a long, big-bodied wide receiver that can give them a look at that position that maybe some other guys can't. That you hear a lot of praise about him, even going back to last year, and it sounds like he's starting to take that next step and emerge as a go-to guy in that receiver rotation. So that's the list off the top of my head.
Watch, I have to ask you, how far along, what percentage-wise are you into our fantasy football draft prep?
Still not far enough. And again, a lot of it is because I traded away all my draft picks. So, like, I don't pick until, like, the 7th round. So, there's not a lot of prep you can do, not without knowing who's even going to be available on the board. So I've done some looking, some, like, deep sleepers and guys that I think might have a chance to be around that late, but you're in a situation where you go all in the year before, it leaves you scrambling a bit. So this might be a spur of the moment draft prep with a little bit of research tied in. But I'm getting a list of names of guys that might be available towards the middle rounds of the draft.
Okay, when are you putting your keepers in? Because I
already did.
Did you put yours in? I looked at the list. I didn't see you on there. That's why I didn't know. I'm putting mine in today. I'm officially done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done thinking about it.
And there's a rule that if a guy gets hurt with an extensive injury,
Yes.
you can swap out your keeper. So as long as you're not like keeping Puka and he's biting people like that, then I don't know if that qualifies.
I was going to say, as long if he's not biting at things, my goodness.
God. Yeah, that is not covered under the keeper insurance policy.
I need to thank Sean every day that I get a chance to be in this league that he quit, because I love every
I know. He wasn't built for it.
Nope.
You are.
He's not. Well, White, hey, appreciate you, brother, man. Take care of yourself. I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. See you.
Robin Wash at HuskerOnline.com right there. Always great time with him on the morning hookup, man. Take our final break of the hour, and we'll come back with This Day in Sports. That's so funny.
Robin Washit taking my order at Slim's.
Yeah. He'd be on the mic, just crushing it. I am putting my keepers in today. I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm gonna do right now? It's a 2-keeper league, and it gets associated with the draft pick. And so I'm keeping a quarterback who was drafted last in the entire draft. That is going to be a starter this year.
Who's that?
Tyler Shaw. How do you say it? Shaw. Why not?
Good pick.
Flyer. 23rd pick. It's the last pick of the draft. It cost me a 23rd round draft pick.
Why not?
And then, where's Robin's team? I made a trade with a Washit a couple weeks ago. And my second keeper will be Karen Williams. How about that?
ESPN's doing a college football pick'em this year, so you can make like a league like you would for fantasy, and then people can join. And every week there's 10 games that ESPN picks, and you just pick the winner. And then there's like a tiebreaker where you say the score.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sweet.
Nice. So we can give our keepers, and they're locked in. I just submitted mine are locked in. The only way I can change them, 2 things happen. When everybody's keepers get in, we get the draft order.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is, the only way you can change a keeper once you lock it in is injury.
Okay.
That's it. So if, one of those guys get hurt in the preseason, blah, 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 then I can make that change. But I'm locked in. Today's Vincent Sports.
Oh, Robin is not on the phone anymore.
Nope, he gone. What?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Special thanks to Robin Wash with HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff, as always. Few moments left. Play. At this day in 1965, imagine this baseball story. Hank Aaron loses a home run because guess what he did? He hit it out of the batter's box.
Oh my goodness.
How about that?
Well, now you would definitely see that in today's day and age with all the reviews and the challenges.
Yep.
You already know a coach would be going like this, putting up the challenge sign.
Yep. Out of the batter's box. Hey, Hank.
Let's see here.
In 19. Go ahead.
1956, the Cincinnati Reds and the Cubs combined to hit 10 home runs in a 9-inning game. Between two teams, there was
my God.
10 home runs in one single game.
Yikes. A lot of baseball records this week. Brooks Robinson in 1965 hit into his third career triple play. Tied 3 other guys.
Got to have the worst luck ever.
Dubious record there.
It's kind of, actually, I don't know if that's bad luck or skill. It's kind of skillful to hit into that many triple plays. You know what I mean? Yep. 1977, Dodgers pitcher Don Sutton throws his NL record tying 5th one-hitter.
Golly, think about that.
Getting
5th one-hitter.
Getting so many times close to a no-hitter, but can't ever get it.
How about in 1986? We always talk about contracts and things like that. How about Jim Kelly signed with the Buffalo Bills for 5 years, $75 million? A lot of cash back in 86.
2002, PGA Championship men's golf has
Hazeltine
National. American Rich Beam wins his first major title by 1 stroke from Tiger Woods.
Woo! Wow. Tiger lost.
Not by much.
In 2021, which not too long ago, Shohei Ohtani became the fastest player in team history to reach 40 home runs in a season. Also pitched 8 innings in the same game, won 3-1. Yeah, at Detroit, it's crazy.
This guy, when the Olympics were going on, was kind of appointment viewing for me as a kid. Every time he was on the screen, I had to watch. Usain Bolt.
Oh, was he just back in the news too?
I'm not sure. 2016, Usain won the gold medal in the men's 200 for the 3rd consecutive Summer Olympics with a recording a time of 19.78 seconds. That's ridiculous to run 200 meters in less than 20 seconds.
That's called blazing.
Yeah. I think there's some like record out there. There's some saying that the top 10, I forget how it goes. I'll have to look it up. Something about how the top 10 records, like 7 of them are
his.
Are
he just owns all of it.
Yeah.
Wow. Some other going through. Boy, back in '82, boy, to my plate appearances. None of it still stands, but Pete Rose set a record with 13,940 first plate appearances. It's a lot of plate appearances.
Mm-hmm. Is that guy in the Hall of Fame? 1981, football running back Herschel Walker of the University of Georgia takes out an insurance policy for $1 million.
Oh, taking care of himself in case of injury.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. There's a lot of good stuff in here. We talked about Bolt there. That was a good one. Wow. The Yankees back in 2025 hit 9 home runs in a 13-3 game. They become the first team in Major League Baseball here to record 2 games with 9 home runs. That's a lot of bombs. Good stuff. Coming up, we have Brian Muntz with HuskerOnline.com. We're also going to go around the diamond. Major League Baseball. Wild Card Mania, folks. So you won't want to miss that and a whole lot more. Sit back. Relax. We'll be right back.
chat with about my sheets. They seem to be making me just really itchy.
Pardon, vous avez dit un chat?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I just want to chat with maybe like the cleaning service, see which detergent they use. Just a chat.
Chat.
Please, I'm so itchy.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Matisse, j'ai un client qui demande un chat.
Oh, my goodness. I thank you. It's just a chat, really just a...
Voilà.
What?
So you requested a cat to scratch you.
Traveling mistakes can really be absurd. Learn to speak like the locals with Babbel, and no one will mistake your chat for a cat.
So please, your cat.
Get up to 50% off on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to get up to 50% off. Babbel.com.
You got your very own handyman to help remodel your home.
They have so many things to look at with the countertops, vanities, mirrors, all the lighting, all the faucets, all the hardware, different toilets, shower stalls. You name it, they would have it. Hi, I'm Kathy Schleif, and Handyman helped us greatly with our home bathroom remodeling project. I recently moved to South Dakota. It's amazing how staff is right there to help you. We did get a new toilet and the hardware to go with that, and a new ceiling fan for the bathroom at Handyman. We found a special toilet, so it has a skirt on the toilet, so you don't see the hardware. It's quiet. The bathroom fan is working great. It's actually sucking the moisture out like it should.
In August, save $50 on all vanity cabinets and $200 on walk-in tubs. For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman, under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
Let me share something to make life just a little easier. It's just one word, Bryant. If we need service on our furnace or AC, we call Bryant. Same thing goes for an electrical issue. If I have a problem with my faucet, a toilet, a drain, or a water heater, I don't need to know how to fix something. I just need to know who to call. And at our house, it's Bryant.
Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Just one call. 467-1111. Remember, we do whatever it takes.
The next time you're sitting in your home, listen. Are you hearing traffic, lawnmowers, dogs barking, the neighbor's motorcycle? Now imagine hearing less of it. Triple pane replacement windows from Heartland of Nebraska Windows don't just help with comfort and energy efficiency. They can also help reduce outside noise. So when you're relaxing at home, your home feels more like home. Call Gary today for your free estimate. You can buy more expensive windows from a bigger company, but you can't get better windows from a better company than Heartland of Nebraska Windows.
Better up!
The crack of the bats. Sizzling concessions. Yeah, that's the sound of summer at Haymarket Park. It's been that way for 25 seasons. And in this city, it's not a matter of if you'll catch a game, it's how many. That's because there's always something in play for Salt Dogs fans. From saluting our troops to Friday night fireworks, your local tradition plays on. Let's show summer how Lincoln celebrates 25 seasons. Get your tickets at saltdogs.com.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. With oil prices climbing, talks with Iran are at a stalemate, and today President Trump has posted a
This is a monthly test of the Emergency Alert System for broadcast stations and cable systems of Nebraska in cooperation with the FCC and other government authorities. Equipment is being tested that can quickly provide warnings during emergencies. If this had been an actual emergency, official information, news, or instructions would have followed the alert tone. This concludes this test of the Emergency Alert System.
Americans under heat alerts. ABC's Ginger Z says it's a scorcher from California to the Carolinas.
It's like a big top that's kind of holding on like a pot top, and it's going to hold on to this heat, let it just circulate down here. Savannah, the Feels Lakes, well above 100 going through the weekend. Orlando drops below 100 for the Feels Lake going into Saturday, so that's good. But Houston, baking and steaming all the way through the weekend.
Meantime, Indiana still cleaning up after round of thunderstorms.
Emergency operations remain underway as residents return to their flood-ravaged homes. The governor announcing the launch of a disaster relief fund to provide $5,000 to individuals in need of basics such as clothing and food. This comes as another round of thunderstorms and heavy rain moves east from the Midwest into the Mid-Atlantic, bringing a risk of flooding to already waterlogged states.
ABC's Rena Roy, Dow's down 55 points. You're listening to ABC News.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent anything.
Two recent abductions helped LPD capture two suspects. Good morning, I'm Jeff Modes. We're cloudy and 68 degrees here in Lincoln at KFOR. A couple of arrests in less than a week on separate abduction cases in Lincoln highlights the critical need to contact law enforcement immediately if you see someone being held against their will or suspicious activity in your neighborhood.
The sooner that law enforcement can respond and check on someone, the better. And so we always encourage someone, if they see something concerning, to call law enforcement.
That's LPD Public Information Manager Erica Thomas. Last Thursday, a 41-year-old woman was seen being assaulted and abducted near 1st and M Streets and later found at a hotel near 56th and Superior. The suspect in that case, 46-year-old Tate Wright, was arrested Thursday and arraigned last Friday. Then on Sunday, 26-year-old Stephen Schroeder of arrested after he abducted a woman in 48th and Y that later led to a pursuit that ended at 56th and Old Cheney. Schroeder, who was out on bond for a domestic incident with the same woman back in June, was arraigned on several charges Monday in Lancaster County Court. Former University of Nebraska regent and former attorney with the Douglas County Attorney's Office, Elizabeth O'Connor, was sentenced Monday to 1 year in prison, 18 months of supervised release, and having her driver's license revoked for 5 years after pleading guilty to driving under the influence while inflicting serious bodily injury. The 35-year-old O'Connor was charged last summer with DUI after prosecutors said she crashed into another person with her blood alcohol content at 0.321, more than 4 times the legal limit. A new independent business association is now launching a membership drive in Nebraska. Citizens for Free Enterprise is an organization with focus on helping aspiring business owners pursue and achieve the American dream, according to National Field Director Bud Seinhorst.
Focusing on helping them be informed on policy and regulatory issues that matter every day in their business, and things like less regulation, lower taxes, expanding affordable health care options for independent business owners.
Read more at KFORnow.com. Still another chance of showers and thunderstorms today, otherwise mostly cloudy and a high of 84. Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
Save big and everything for your next staining project when you shop at Menards. Finish your outdoor wood projects with Cabot Premium Exterior Stain. It provides excellent protection and durability, making it ideal for decks, siding, outdoor furniture, and more. Get $8 off per gallon of Cabot Premium Exterior Stain now through August 23rd and start staining your project today. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
KFOR invites you to join Legacy Retirement's John Kopetsky and his special guests Saturday mornings for the Aging Adventure. Brought to you by Legacy Retirement Communities. Lifestyle and health topics plus fascinating people. The Aging Adventure, 8 a.m. Saturdays on KFOR. Whether you're buying or selling your first home or your third, let the experts from Coldwell Banker NHS Real Estate guide you through the process. Listen to Start Moving for tips on buying and selling in today's world.
This is the Morning Hookup.
on KFOR.
Welcome back in the morning hookup, hour number 2. Happy Tuesday. I didn't respond, but your dinner last night was fire.
Yes, it was.
I just kept looking at it. I'm like, well, man, I grilled steak last night, but that trumped everything I did. Rice, squash, chicken, and veggies, potatoes, and peppers. That thing was so good looking.
I don't know how I even ate the whole plate, but
Well, because it's one of those meals where like you get those meals where they're just that good.
Yeah,
and you just can't stop.
I can't waste this. I can't
Nope.
put this in the trash.
And it won't be as good the second time around if you saved it. Which is another conversation. I'm not a leftovers guy.
Wow. I see. We are on opposite wavelengths there, and I'll eat all the leftovers.
Yeah, I'm just not. Like there's
I get it, though.
not total. Like we have I'll repurpose stuff. Like we made steaks last night. We have a tradition where it's kids the night before their first day of school we make steak. So I'll take the leftover steak and maybe steak and eggs or something along the I'll do that. But like I'm not a big,
I get it.
repurpose. I'll repurpose it, but I just don't. I don't know. Like if I'm walking in and there's like after maybe a late night. Maybe there's some pizza in the fridge. I'll grab a slice and eat a pizza because I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. See, it's good for me because I am a leftovers guy, and my girlfriend and her family, none of them are. They don't eat leftovers. So I'm like, more for me. I'll take all of it. Thank you. No complaints for me.
So just leads me to believe that's I know, but it looked really good. Whoever made that for you, or if you made it yourself, congrats. Coming up, probably about 10 minutes, though, we have Brian Monson, HuskerOnline.com, talking the recruiting world a little bit with him, talk about some current players on the roster with Brian, some stories that we missed. But, boy, Major League Baseball, my goodness, it is delivering right now down the stretch. What are we, for 124 games in, roughly? 124, 125?
Yeah, depending on which team.
The stretch.
There's about 37, 38 games
we'll
left.
call it the stretch. We'll look at the divisions real quick. 6 games, Tampa Bay hanging on, 6 games up. Boston over the Yankees. Boston 8.5 back, so we'll keep monitoring that. It is giving all 3 of those teams, by the way. It's giving just percentage-wise, CBSSports.com throws percentages out. 96.2 for your Sox. 99.3 for the Yankees, 100% for the Rays. White Sox, boy, they're just hanging on out there, aren't they? 4.5 up over the Tigers, who have, just kind of we're coming along real just a little bit, and they're back one last night. 89.9% for the White Sox. What a story that would be from last year to this year, the last couple years, to get in the playoffs and win the division. Everybody else kind of trailing by 4.5, 5.5. Kansas City out there at 14. No chance there. Houston taking over that lead. 2 games up over Texas and 4 over Seattle, who's won 2 straight, by the way. That race will stay heated for a while. The Hot Atlanta Braves, not Hot Atlanta right now. They've lost a game or two. They've lost 6 out of 10 right now. Not as hot right now. 6.5 game lead over a hot Philadelphia team. They've won 4 straight. So monitoring that one as well. Milwaukee maintaining that 4.5 game lead. The Cubs, boy, had a bad series. I think the Cardinals, didn't they lose a series to the Cardinals? I think they lost the series to the Cardinals. I believe.
Can't remember who they played.
They've won 6 out of 10. Right now, Milwaukee's still 4.5 up right now. And that one, Dodgers, they're kind of maintaining. 6 out of 10, kind of bounced back a little bit in that one. They have an 8 game lead over San Diego, a 9 game lead over the Diamondbacks. That's not the story right now. The divisions are the divisions. This wild card thing is insane.
It's
insane. American League
on both sides.
Both sides. But we'll kind of give you the National League first because it's a little less mania. Right now, the Cubs are 6 up, Philly 1 up, San Diego's holding that spot. And there's probably 3 teams in the mix here to get that last spot. 4. San Diego holds it right now. Arizona 1 back, St. Louis and Miami 3 back. Okay? Things could change if somebody takes a division lead, things could change. But right now, you got about 4 teams for that last spot. I mean, maybe Philly. Maybe you caught Philly out there too because they're only 1 game out, right? So 5 teams for 2 spots. Boy, look at the American League. You feel like the first 2 spots are good. They're pretty comfortable right now. Yankees are 8.5 up in that spot. The Sox, your Red Sox, are 6 games up in the 2 spot. Look at the number of teams vying for that 3rd spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams for 1 spot.
If you look at
go ahead.
Well, how the wild card was looking at the trade deadline, and now what it looks like, it's completely flipped in the AL and in the NL. Like the NL was so close, such a tight race, and now it's kind of starting to some teams are cementing themselves, and now the AL has completely flipped into that super duper tight race between a bunch of teams.
It's crazy, and if you look at it right now, there's 3 teams in a deadlock. You've got Baltimore, Texas, Detroit, all 61. And by the way, all the teams, which is interesting as well, you got those 3 teams locked in at 61 and 64, pretty much deadlock. All the 7 teams we're talking about are under 500.
Yeah.
Then you got Minnesota barely trailing. Minnesota, Toronto, just a half game back there at 61 and 65. Cleveland at 1 game back, in Seattle, two back. It is mania in the American League for that spot. Again, there's a lot of baseball left, 35 to 37 games left, and some key series that are going to come up here shortly when you start looking ahead of those. Right now, you got the Yankees in Baltimore playing, Miami and Philadelphia. Woo! Got a good series going on there. Toronto's trying to get in there. Toronto divisional matchup against Tampa Bay right now.
Toronto's been moving lately. They looked like they were pretty much out of it, and they
made some hay, man.
If they're a team that, if they do make it into the playoffs, the pitching rotation that they have, they can compete with anybody.
Isn't that crazy? They're dead last in the division.
Yeah.
And they're still in it. And they've won 7 out of 10.
Yeah. They got rid of Gosman at the deadline, but the rotation of Cease and Savage, and they picked up Jose Soriano from the Angels. And if you look at their bullpen too, they have guys in their bullpen, like 2 or 3 guys with sub-2 ERAs. They are absolutely locked down. Offense can't hit the ball, but if they, pitching in the postseason, that can get you some wins.
Big series coming. Look at the weekend. If you're looking for some weekend baseball, how about a couple of division leaders? Atlanta, Milwaukee play each other this weekend. Oof. Get ready for a good one there. Toronto and the Yankees. Speaking of Toronto, they got the Yankees this weekend.
Gigantic series.
I think it's also, can you say it's a big series for Boston too, with San Francisco coming to town? Sweepable.
I think
just to get right, because they haven't been right they've been up and down, but like getting a team like San Fran coming all the way across.
I think at this point in the season, pretty much any series is, you could say it's a big series.
Yep. Tampa Bay, Baltimore. Is Baltimore vying to keep that hold of that spot? Cubs in Seattle. Pretty good spot for those guys coming up.
How about the Cubs last night? You see that walk-off from PCA?
By the way, I was just going to that. Speaking of that, like that's PCA's second straight season with 30-30. What an NL MVP race do we have going on right now?
PCA is a guy who has completely turned around his career. Last year, got made fun of a lot for his plate discipline and not being able to lay off of any off speed. If you go and look at his numbers this year, he's upped his walk percentage.
They're crazy numbers.
Yeah, he's kind of taken his ego away, because I think he was a guy that came into the league and wanted to make a splash and wanted to hit a whole bunch of home runs and be that sort of star player. He's kind of turned into that star player, just kind of being a little bit more like himself and just being a good baseball player, and everything else has come together. His defensive numbers, he is an absolute animal in center field. Anything that gets hit in the outfield against the Cubs, good luck. PCA is there. He's going to get it. You mentioned the 30 home runs, the 30 stolen bases. He takes pitches. He takes good at bats. But then he got Shohei Ohtani.
They both hit 2 bombs last night.
Yeah.
This morning when you wake up, PCA is a slight favorite, -115. Ohtani -105.
And I don't know, an argument for both sides. I could hear both sides. I don't know which way I would be leaning.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. I don't know. How much of that factor is the fact that Ohtani could return to pitch? Saying he might, if he feels good, he might do another bullpen session. Something to watch. Or is it part of it, like, I don't know, part of it's, I don't want to say it's Ohtani fatigue. PCA does more probably on paper for his team. Just to who he is. You take him out of that. I tend to look at MVPs like that. I know it's stats driven and but like if you took Ohtani off, would they hurt? Yes, but look what's left around them. Take PCA off the Cubs.
Yeah.
That tells me a lot about most valuable player type stuff.
I agree with you. I think when you talk about most valuable player, what the meaning of the award is, I think you probably go with PCA, but you can't just like the talent of Ohtani, you can't discredit that at all either.
Yep.
So it's tough. It's really tough.
There's a lot of good stuff going on in baseball. Continue to watch that. There's stats, figures, standings, your favorite teams. You're in and out. They're out of it. That AL wild card, just continue to watch that. That's pretty amazing. 7 teams for one spot, essentially. Because you feel really good. I know there's a lot of baseball. I feel really good about the Yankees and the Red Sox. 7 teams, one spot.
But teams that close with 37 games left to play, so much can happen.
A lot.
Like there's chances of this coming down to needing a 163rd game. There's tiebreakers involved. It's going to be really, really close down the stretch. And, some of these teams are going to end up playing each other. Like the Tigers and the Twins, they're both half a game out. And, I guess the Twins are a half game back of the Tigers. And they are probably going to get each other. Same with the Guardians and the Tigers and the Twins. Like they're all in the same division. All of these teams are going to see each other. And every game, every pitch is going to mean something. It's going to be sweet. This is the best time of year.
It's going to mean a lot. It's a lot. So, all right, good stuff. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll go back to the gridiron with our guy from HuskerOnline.com, Brian Munson.
Do you like spring rolls?
Mm-hmm.
We're making them tonight.
Oh.
I don't know how to do it, but we're going to figure it out.
Do you guys like YouTube that stuff and do it or just rock it? We did that for sushi one time. We made sushi at the house.
Ooh.
Big sushi fan.
Yeah, it can't be that hard to make. It's just like the rice paper, rice noodles, shrimp.
I don't know. It never turns out exactly the way you're like, oh, that was perfect.
Yeah. You can figure it out, though. Forgot to mention, too, the Sox are getting two or three key pieces back in the next week.
Yeah, buddy.
Trevor Story, Roman Anthony. We'll see if Crochet comes back. I doubt it.
Dun, dun, dun. Right, Brian Munson. What's up, B? What's going on with Brian Munson?
Woke up with a dry, scratchy throat this morning.
Yuck. I've had that little... I think it's the radio. Getting after it. Getting water, getting hydrated. I don't know.
I didn't mean to do that yet.
Both sides are like... Did you ever get it where there's like... get a little horsey? Horsed?
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I am, but in my brain I'm horsed right now, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Or get like the little bumps on the back sometimes. Because we strain it and it creates stuff.
We're gonna have Marco this year.
Oh, I'm working on it. We'll have him. Marco will return. Welcome back in the morning hookup. That time on a Tuesday. Our guy from hustleronline.com, Brian Munson. What's up, B?
Bro, where you been? Where you been, man?
I've been like for some reason on Tuesdays it's been stuff going on where I've been on. You know this is right. You kids and select sport. You get.
I
like,
got it. I mean, but I've had to put up multiple bolos for you, man.
I know.
Multiple bolos, multiple APBs.
I am back. We took a few sabbaticals after all the grind of summer sports. We're like, man, I need a little bit of here, a little bit of there. But now we're back, and football is upon us.
Oh, my goodness. Is it? I mean, a little bit of news yesterday, a lot of news kind of moving forward, huh?
Yeah. Are you since we're there in the running back room, it's that I don't know how to talk about that. Like, first of all, we kind of made a little funny with Wash It earlier about was that the shortest stint in Nebraska history? We don't know. Maybe. I know there were a few that barely got to campus that were here for 12 hours.
Brian, what are your top 10 moments?
Because you've been up and up on the stories. Like, who did he mention? Minchie. Was it Minchie, the quarterback, that was like, for 12 hours? Like, psych.
Oh, Kenny Minchie. Yeah,
Yep.
that was one. There was the who was the wide receiver from Washington?
Was that Hardly Gilmore?
No. That was Kentucky. Then there was a kid from Washington that came to Lincoln, was in Lincoln for a hot minute, and then went to Ole Miss.
Oh, yeah. I forget that's name. I know you're talking. Yes.
Boy, oh boy, I'm messing up the name right now. Somebody's off there on the hotline. They could help us out with that one. That was a good one. Jordan Stevenson's a great one. Mm-hmm. He was there for a hot minute, running back down here from the Dallas area.
That's right.
There's a couple kids that were in Scott Frost's first year as head coach that were Florida kids that snuck out in the middle of the night and stuff like that, you know. And what about like even who was the quarterback, Kansas City Royal draft pick?
Bubba Starling.
Bubba Starling was there for a minute to kind of use it as leverage against his against the Royals to get a better contract deal. And then when the agent said you got to leave, he packed up and left. So
you can never
there's
forget
been a
Eric
few.
Gilbert.
Who's that?
You can never forget Eric
that's
Gilbert.
a good one. Another good one. Let's be on APB out to all the vape stops.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's a toughie right there.
But I guess,
there's a couple.
I guess this one, like, it's the story is that he's no longer with the team, but the room is just fine. It is where it was when it started, the spring, essentially, right?
I think that there was a lot of hype that was there. I think, look, you know, the hype was weird, right? Because initially everybody was kind of like looking in the mirror going, why didn't Nebraska take a portal guy? You know, because here you are, you're entering into August or end of July. You got uncertainty with Nelson. You don't know what's going on. You may not have him, you know, you got a converted wide receiver basically running, you know, first string. And I think Mosey could end up being a really good running back at Nebraska. But I mean, what you don't know is what you don't know about that kid. I mean, there's not been a ton of reps. He needs to take a massive step forward. It's not, you know, it's not an easy deal to go be a Big Ten running back. So you've got to, there's a lot of things that kind of have to come together for him to like just all of a sudden just have a presence, you know, out there on the football field for the Huskers. So that was always a big issue. Like for me, it's not that he's not a talented dude. That never even came into the question. He's a very talented guy. The guy was committed to Oregon. But how do you make that adjustment from four-star wide receiver committed to Oregon, flipping to Nebraska to play wide receiver to then convert to running back? That is a transition. That is a transition right there. So I think he's a talented dude. He's probably still coming into his own. It's going to be very interesting to see that happen. But, I mean, when you had no Nelson potentially, then you're like, Tyke kind of falls into your lap, you know, and you're like going, well, this is the portal guy that Nebraska never got. And then all of a sudden, 12 hours later, Nelson charges not being filed. You're like going, wow. Like all of a sudden, you know, we've gone from, you know, rags to riches, and it's wondering then, you know, like, okay, like this room could be really good shape. Who's going to be the starter, you know, as opposed to, well, you're starter by default, you know, kind of like one of those things. The tune has just changed so dramatically as things have kind of gone on. But I think here you are. And I think that basically the feeling is, Tyke probably wasn't going to have the initial impact based on the injury that he had, you know, right out the gate. But Mosey is looking good, can be a guy, and Nelson probably is still going to be kind of your starter. But you got Nelson there, and Jamal Rule could be a player that we're talking about, you know, come week 6, week 7 anyway, is pushing for starting time in the first place. So it's really been this kind of roller coaster of statuses, you know, when it comes to the running back room.
Well, and Brian, you mentioned those top 3 guys, and I keep, you know, looking at this depth chart, and there's a guy that's kind of sticking out like a sore thumb for me that, you know, we haven't really seen much of and kind of want to get out of. Quentin Ives. Where's this guy at? I mean, you think he can progress some during fall camp, and you know, he is the oldest guy in that room. And I think, you know, kind of to this point around the whole Hayes situation, and you have, you know, these 4 guys, is like the running back room is fine. You have a plethora of choices, but, you know, what do you think about a guy like Ives cementing himself into a starting role?
Ives is there. He's got some production, you know, he's got some time behind him. He's, I don't know, arguably if he's the most seasoned out of all the running backs or not. I mean, heck, I would turn back around and say, what about Connor Booth? We haven't talked about him yet at all either. And it's, you know, that like I said, I put in Tunnel Talk a few weeks back that a source of mine that was at the coaching convention went to Barthel's presentation, watched film of Booth, and thought that Booth was the best looking running back, you know, he had going through all the drills that Barthel demonstrated. So it's a very talented room. I think Ives is definitely, he's kind of like the most forgotten, you know, person in that room, because it just seems like Nebraska does a pretty good job of kind of like recruiting over like what they've got currently. And Ives, you're just waiting for him to take a step. You're waiting for him to kind of bust out, maybe have like some sort of a, and this is kind of extreme, some sort of an Emmett Johnson, you know, kind of season and kind of moment where it's just all of a sudden it clicks and you go, that's the guy I saw in high school. That big dude right there that can really run, long strider, you know, can adjust his pad level, be a powerful, violent runner as well. That's kind of what you're looking for. But just Lightning needs to kind of come on. He needs to get some experience. He needs to get comfortable.
Okay, we're speaking to Brian Muntz with HuskerOnline.com. B, you talk about a talented group, but one we haven't really talked about, I don't think we're taking it for granted, is that wide receiver room. And Coach Shorts has been documented. You get a little sparkle in the eye when he talks about that group. But when you look at that group, and you've followed all these guys, talk about like their length, athleticism, what it could be, and if there's any newcomers that can emerge in that group, because you've got guys like Hunter returning. How about Gilmore stretching the field? Clark Smith, Barney. I mean, man, they go on and on right now.
Yeah, you know, it's always been a very talented room. It's been kind of that room where it's been difficult for, you know, guys to kind of bubble up. You know, we talked about Cortez Mills here. I'm a big Cortez Mills fan, and you know, he got a touchdown under his belt last year, but just couldn't kind of like stay in the middle, obviously, of like, you know, of just kind of being, you know, a top 6 player. So when you're kind of looking at that group, I mean, it's loaded. I think you got Hunter and Gilmer and Barney. I think that no question, you know, are those top top three guys, and then you're kind of getting into that next group. Some guys that you were mentioning, I think, like a Janaran Bonner is a different looking dude. I mean, he's a 225-pound guy that's kind of floated between fullback to tight end to playing kind of an H. Like he's a differently built kind of player. And then you get into some really long guys. Like you get into like what you mentioned, Quinn Clark's 6'5". Keelan Smith, is still a 6'3" guy. I mean, he's like the second or the third tallest in the room. And Maurice Purify, I think, is probably arguably a little bit taller than him. But I mean, you're still talking about having a lot of length there in those guys. And, then you kind of get in like I was saying, Cortez Mills was a terrific 50-50 guy. Really kind of, I think, can do some stuff over the top, but I think sneaky is good in the red zone because he can just high point a ball. And I think that's going to be really important for like this offense to try to find the right guys and make them all fit. But I mean, I think the top three are pretty well set. And then you start talking about, like I said, you have Bonner and Quinn Clark and Keelan Smith and Cortez Mills. And, there's some other dudes obviously that are going to figure into there. But there's some really talented freshmen too, Larry Miles. And, I'm still kind of interested in Purify because it's like that one fell into their lap. This is a guy that was committed to Washington State, won the long jump, in the state of Nebraska. Very explosive guy, 6'4", going to sit there, going to be the second tallest guy in the room for Nebraska. So there's a lot of upside there with him and just kind of, maybe getting him to cut his teeth a little bit this season, just kind of seeing how things are going to kind of go for him. But very, very talented room. I'm sure Shorts is very, very happy about it. I think obviously, when you do bring in a guy like Gilmer, who they have seen a couple of times before, one time not so good. Now they know that he's wearing, the scarlet and cream and he's sitting in the room for those guys. So I'm sure they're really excited about having that kind of weapon, for them and to kind of go along the side of Hunter and Barney. That's going to help out big time.
Also, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this, but Shorts mentioned the word creative in his room. Draw that relationship as a football guy. You got receiver, you got a new offensive line, and I think the word creative goes with your quarterback as well, and how that quarterback and that receiver room will jive together with a guy with legs that can move. And I'm not drawing any comparisons, but I'm thinking like you can envision the rollout, the play's kind of broken, and then you got to get the eyes up and look at each other and make some creative moves to get some passes down the field.
The thing about it is that you have to get into those sets where you have those types of creative things that you can do without having to like change the entire look of the set, where you can speed option, you can read option, you can draw. And then when you start talking then about mixing in the passing plays, well, maybe the passing plays are tags. Maybe it's because based on a look, maybe that's the same, but then maybe you have like straight up passing plays that are on top of it, and and the option routes and what you're doing with all those different guys. And I think that obviously still we didn't mention tight ends on top of the wide receiver room, and I think that there's still some things there that can really make sense. Like Lindemeyer is going to be fine there. I'm really excited about Luke Sorensen. I think people are still going to bring up Carter Nelson's name because he's sitting over there and he's one of the best athletes on the team. And it's just, you really want to kind of have everything go his way and stay healthy. But I think that when you have athletes like that, and I think when you have versatile players that can kind of do different things, and I think when you have guys like Gilmer, like Hunter, like Barney, that when you put them in motion, you create problems. You create big matchup concerns. And those are going to be the things there that are going to be really fun to watch for Nebraska this fall, because I think some of those guys are just better being a little bit in motion to begin with. And those are definitely the three players that Shorts is probably going to run out there on the field to start out the season. Those would be the top three guys on my list of guys that I would be excited about putting them in motion and letting them go create something.
Talking with Brian Munton from HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, after the scrimmage on Saturday, we really didn't get much out of Coach Rule, but he did say that, two things can be true. They've done a nice job through the practices. They've come a long way, but there's still a long ways to go. And in that scrimmage, they're not out there trying to run their best and run a whole bunch of different schemes, and they're just kind of like see what they have. Coming into the season, with a couple weeks left until the season starts, what else would you want to hear out of fall camp that would give you some encouragement coming into the season?
Yeah, I think I'd like to hear more. I mean, I think everybody's really excited to hear about like the secondary going out there and generating turnovers, and and I think that people have to kind of get that it's it's kind of 6-1, half dozen of the other. People are excited about the secondary getting those pickoffs, but at the same time, I think Nebraska fans need to realize that's probably coming out of a Nebraska quarterback's hand. And so I think I want to hear more about like just the consistency that's happening, there on both sides of the football. I think number one, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think that the other side is too, and I don't think it's been mentioned here by anybody at all, that there has been absolutely no type of fall off, between, Mike Eckler leaving and Brett Maher picking up special teams. That was a critical part, last season, and kind of maybe getting a couple games to turn over from being losses in previous years under Matt Rule to being wins. So you can't immediately give those games back. But I don't think that that's necessarily where I would like go back and still point at like the problem. The problem was it's like you're still barely a top half offense. You're just not generating enough points, when it kind of comes to the firepower that we think that you're supposed to have. So I think behind the consistency, I think that's going to get there with the offensive line. I think that, with the running back room, something there, the running back side has got to be just, something's got to emerge. You're down Tyke, I get it. Something now has to come out of that room and just say like, okay, we've got a good solid answer about how we're going to kind of move forward. I'm not worried about wide receivers. I'm really not worried about tight end. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really worried about quarterback either. I think it's running backs, and I think it's just like overall kind of consistency on the defensive side of the football, and just knowing that there hasn't been a massive drop off or any type of drop off at all when it comes to special teams.
Hey, Brent, also 'tis the season. Start lining up some visits to come visit Memorial Stadium. Big view question for recruiting. When you look at this year's schedule, obviously it's early on home games. You're like, those would be okay. How much of the effect of visits will be on home games? Obviously, an 11 o'clock start, you're tough to get to, and you're playing Ohio. 6 p.m. Bowling Green. I don't know. Cole Swindell might want to help get some guys on the 19th when he performs at Memorial Stadium. But does that type of schedule early on affect the visits, and what's the impact of that? Because you look past it, it's like, we got Indiana coming to town. That's a great day to visit. Heck, we got a blackout coming up against Washington. Maybe those are visit times and when the business really picks up.
Yeah, I've definitely been hearing a lot of chatter about like with the Big Ten schedule. I've got heard some guys mention the 10-3 date, which is against Maryland. Hearing about 10-10, obviously against Indiana. So the reigning national champions come to Lincoln. Will be a very interesting game, with them. You got the blackout, like you'd mentioned, against Washington. You get Ohio State, basically the week before Thanksgiving. So there's definitely some weekends there that you just don't know like what time it's going to be. Maybe with like the exception of the Friday night game, which is not even going to be in Lincoln, it's going to be at Illinois. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I come back immediately to 9-12 and 9-19, and that's going to be Bowling Green and North Dakota. Not two of your premier, opponent games that you have scheduled, but they are 6 o'clock or 6:15 starts. Nebraska has still been extending several new offers. I mean, I'm going to have some information in my 3 and Out tomorrow. I think there's 5 or 6 brand new 2028 defensive lineman offers in the last 4 days. Mm-hmm. There's a new offensive tackle offer, a week ago. So there's certainly some things kind of going on there. And as we kind of talked about before, there's a process I think that Matt Rule has done a great job in kind of perfecting in his guys in his recruiting office. But it's an end-to-end deal. And it includes, as juniors, you have to get players on campus to see what a game day atmosphere is like in Lincoln. When Nebraska's had to do without and then still get players on campus, in the winter for a junior day and the spring for a spring practice or spring game, they've if they even got them to officially visit, they still tended to come up short in those scenarios because they don't know what it's like in Lincoln for a game. And it's just like, that's like the biggest selling point for the Huskers is just getting to Lincoln and letting them have a chance to experience that. So when you don't have that opportunity and you're kind of going through everything kind of like, blind and you don't have the awareness of what it's like as a game day in Lincoln, but you've seen it other places, it makes it tough to choose, coming to Lincoln in some instances. Like how do you make that kind of, blind type of decision coming from Florida and choosing it over SEC schools, or coming from Texas and not going to, some other school down here. So I think it's very important to get those guys on campus, and you've heard like the words of, Adbanama, the offensive lineman is part of the 2027 class, and other guys in the 2027 group. Nebraska kept those guys coming back. They kept bringing them back, as many times as they could get them on campus last fall. That's going to start early, and then it has to be then often afterwards. So look for those guys like to really emerge like the first couple 3 weeks, first couple 3 games obviously that are in there, and then you want to bring them back for some of those bigger games, obviously the Indianas, the Ohio States, and the Washingtons a little bit later in the season.
Speaking of coming in blind, are you coming in blind as a Buffalo Bills fan this season? New head coach, DJ Moore coming over. Can the Bills finally get over the hump?
Moore looked really good this weekend. I didn't realize that the NFL Network was going to run that delayed broadcast. I thought it was a little bit insulting that we didn't see the first game live in Highmark, but caught it and rewatched it on Sunday. Thought they looked good. I got some questions about the interior. Spencer Brown had a really kind of questionable first drive or two. Cook looked good. Moore looked amazing. I think that they've got the right kind of assets on the offensive side of the football. It was against Carolina. I don't know really like what to make of it. But the defense also looks really good. Different defensive coordinator over there too. So different DC, different head coach, same old Josh Allen. And I think that Josh is really going to like having, Brady there making the calls on the sideline, having a little bit better, communication with him. Obviously, I think those guys, they can get on the same sheet of music, but we'll see. I am definitely bought in. I have definitely bought in on the team. There's no sell in me at all when it comes to the team.
Better yet, are you ready for fantasy football?
I have pick 6 or 7, and it's just like no man's land. Yep. And I every year, like I have to pick in that range. I hate it because there's a guy that I'm going to have that I'm going to say like, well, it's going to be one of these 2 guys that are going to fall to me. And then both those guys end up falling to me. And then I'll undervalue somebody that's in like the top 4 or 5 that I feel like I don't have any type of reason to go out and get. And then I end up trying to justify somebody within my minute of choosing, like somebody that's down the line, and go, gosh, I wish I could trade back like right now because this is so stupid. I don't like anybody here. And I'll probably end up taking a quarterback like Josh Allen, but I don't know. It's going to get really, I don't like drafting where my spot is at. I saw that on like when the league got formed, I was like, I just rolled my eyes. It's starting out on the wrong step already.
And I know it was a couple years ago. Have you been relieved of duties, or have you just said, I'm not doing it anymore? Weren't you the OC or DC for one of your kids?
I was DC a long time ago. Now all I do is catch long snaps. So I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine doing that. Obviously, I get plenty of phone calls from the other kid that's a Division II wide receivers coach up in Minnesota. And he'll send me pictures of plays and stuff like that, and we'll talk about different things. But they're game planning for Michigan Tech. I will be up. In fact, I don't think I can talk to you guys next week. I think I'll be traveling at this time, heading up to Bemidji, flying into Fargo, driving over to Minnesota for their first game next Thursday night.
Nice.
So
enjoy
it. Not been up there yet. So Michigan Tech gets the blackout up in Bemidji on Thursday night.
Awesome, man. Well, have a great trip up there for your kid, man. And we appreciate your time as always, B, man. Have a great day and a great week, my friend.
You guys do the same. Talk soon.
Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff. Him as always on a Tuesday. Take our final break. Come back with stories that we missed. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, buddy. All right, so weather. I had a hard time getting out of bed this morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Paper dud.
The almost Kyle McCord to Nebraska era.
Yeah, almost.
Remember that?
There's not a lot of those. Like, almost attempts. Mm-hmm. Let's go here. That one.
Keyshawn Johnson Jr.
Oh, man. Calabrasca days, baby.
The Coldest Crawford.
Best NI deal ever when he was like with an HVAC company.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're watching that. That's all. Tick. That's a good one. Oh, man.
It's on the agenda for today.
Well, I've got a half-day pickup for one of my kids. Half day of school, first day. So I'm in charge of that for sure, and then probably got to get him lunch.
I was supposed to
get to the site somehow today. I don't know, it's raining, but
I started yesterday mowing my brother-in-law's lawn, but then his mower is kind of
on the fritz.
Doesn't work very well. So I was going to come back today, and now I won't be able to. So his lawn is like halfway mowed right now,
like a half haircut.
Yeah.
The stories we miss. The Morning Hookup.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup. Special thanks to Brian Muntz with HuskerOnline.com. Well, we alluded to this twice, or at least once today. Sierra Wright, undrafted free agent to the Bengals, and he's stepping away from football. I think he's due to return, but he's headed to a lead movie role.
Lead role?
That's what it says. I've been reading like a big-time role in a movie. It said, and I had to go research because I reading all this stuff. He appeared in like 7 films.
Yeah.
Dating back to 2014. And I did not realize this. In LeBron James' Space Jam, he was the son of LeBron James.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor said two things he's really passionate about were colliding. He decided to pursue this opportunity. Wish him the best. He was fun to be around. He's really competed hard for us. It was fun watching him play. I thought he was ascending as a player. Obviously, he's chosen to go a different path.
Yeah, very talented.
Go get him, Sierra.
Yeah, why not?
And it's not been public about what the role is, but it said
probably can't talk about it.
Yeah, publicly unknown, but he won't be the first. Yeah, so here you go. He's headed to the big screen. Congrats, Sierra.
Well, Sierra is headed to the big screen, and the NFL is headed outside of the U.S. internationally. Roger Goodell says that No doubt at some point there will be NFL teams outside the USA. What do you think about that? They're already trying to expand and play games over there, but
it's international, man. It's a worldwide product now. It's interesting to me. I mean, whatever is it? Did it say it's a new team? Or are they going to send a team? Probably a new team.
Yeah, probably
expansion.
New ones. Yeah,
man, to get drafted and know you're going to be like living in, I don't know,
Spain, Germany.
Be interesting. Worldwide product. The Lakers thing hit a snag. See this report? So they sold majority to these two guys. Can't find them right now. Kushner and Ager, whatever the names are. $12.5 billion.
Former CEO of Disney.
Yeah. Now they're talking about it came out that they were going to sell the remaining 17.8%. Right?
Yeah.
But now, hold a minute. Well, the Lakers governor, Ginny Buss, says that her lawyer said they're contesting this because apparently they voted, but she didn't vote. It takes all three to get the vote done to sell the remaining 17.8. Interesting. The lawyer said this is no sale at the time. It is without approval by the co-trustees, Jeannie, Janie, and Joey. That's what the Jeannie Buss's lawyer is contesting right now. Because you know what's at stake? Jeannie Buss would no longer have the needed ownership percentage to remain governor of the team.
Mm-hmm. She has that agreement through 2030, I believe.
Yep.
Man, the Buss family has been around the Lakers forever. This kind of came as a shock to me that they were selling the Lakers like that.
Yeah, and they said they did say that they would be honoring that if the current agreement stayed in place, they would honor her being the governor. Joe 30.
First world problems.
Yep. The remaining $1 billion of the Lakers.
Right. Let's see here. CJ Abrams for the Nationals is having a great year. One of his best years since his rookie year. Hitting the ball. I think he has like close to 30 home runs, 270 batting average, really high slugging percentage, but he has struggled defensively at shortstop. And they ended up moving him to second base. And, that kind of didn't make him very happy. But his priority is to win games. But I think for anybody, you kind of take it a little bit on the chin when they tell you, hey, bud, you're not very good at shortstop. We're gonna move you.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah.
Hey, got to do what's best for the team.
Kind of like turning a starter into a bullpen guy or a closer. Hey, we don't really believe in you, so we want to move you over here.
Colts made a move yesterday, bringing on a veteran wide receiver who we all know spent 12 years with the Chargers, and that's Keenan Allen. He'll come over on a 1-year deal with $8.3 million as they have depth questions at receiver right now. Were the Colts. It's an interesting.
one. I don't know how we didn't get to the AP poll, the preseason AP poll.
There's some surprises. I think tomorrow, if you have some right now, but tomorrow I thought we'd throw that on the list.
Yeah.
Overrated. I always love to do it when we get the AP or whatever poll. Overrated, underrated, or disrespected.
Well, I will say it is kind of crazy to me that Indiana is getting so disrespected. You're coming off a season where you went 16-0. You got Kurt Signetti as your head coach. You bring back everything that they brought back on the offensive and defensive line. You bring in Josh Hoover. You put them at 6th.
Woo!
That is crazy to me. There is no reason to me that Indiana shouldn't still be the retaining.
They didn't need any of that, did they?
No.
We'll get into that tomorrow because there's some other questions I got and some. I think the polls can tell you whatever the voters say, blah, 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 but also can tell you maybe disrespect, overrate, underrate, not convinced on a coach, right? Maybe they're not convinced. By the way, Nebraska got no votes in the AP. They got them in the coaches, none.
Yep.
Okay. Coming up tomorrow, we'll talk AP poll, Husker volleyball talk tomorrow. We'll talk Carpetland Legion baseball tomorrow. Can they get it done? And the legend, the Mac, Henry T.B. Cannon. Have a great Tuesday. Be safe. Be blessed. Catch you on a hump day.